Good evening and welcome to the Boss Room. My name is Alex Kos, and I'm joined by my co-host,
Shamster. Times with Manster.
Shamster. What's going on, man? How you doing? Episode 1.
Release week special.
Release week. Episode 1. So, how was your week? I mean, other than, what we're about to talk about.
Good. Still at home a lot.
Yeah, mine was good too. I just didn't get much sleep the past few nights, just staying up for
Actually,
these
yeah.
orders.
Yeah, no, I did have a situation today where leaf picker-uppers are ahead of schedule, so they came to our neighborhood early. We were scrambling to rake up the yard real quick because they're like a week early. I ended up having to rake a lot of leaves really quickly. Other than that, everything's good. Lots to talk about.
Hype block.
PS5.
Yeah, so the PS5 released this week, and Shamster, you got it. I don't have it yet, but we'll talk about that. So tell me about your experience picking it up.
So yeah, picking it up went way better than I thought. I know we'll get into a lot of different things, but let me just start with that because I'm going to give a corporate shout out, which I never do. But this one's going out to Best Buy. They did it really well. The only issue I have with them, and it's a major one, is that when you try to call their customer service or whoever, you can't get through to anybody these days. I think because they cut way back on staff, and I think they dropped or they changed their internal model where they don't really even use people. You can't call the stores, is what I'm saying. And then I tried one night just to see how long I was on hold, and I waited an hour, and then I don't even think that was the store. I had to talk to the store. So good luck with that. But yeah, other than that, all I had to do was walk in and grab it and go. There was no one else there at all. I set an appointment for 7:30, but there was really no one there. And people were coming when I was leaving, but it to me, I left, and boom, PS5 time. But how did you end up with it?
That does transition into how I got it because I did get it. Well, I have it currently.
Oh, you don't have it, but you have it.
I have it reserved, let's say, at Best Buy. So
shout out to Best Buy.
Hopefully, shout out. I'm until I have it.
I'm nervous myself, to be honest with you.
Until I have it, I'm not certain. You know what I mean? But what I did was on Wednesday evening, I stayed up till midnight, which I usually go to bed around 11:30. So this is a little bit later for me, but I was kind of like adrenaline going a little bit, and I had a bunch of pages open, and I was refreshing a bunch of them, and I was looking at Wario 64 and Cheap Ass Gamer on Twitter, and I was looking at Reddit. Like I was looking everywhere just to see what places would go on sale. The only place really was Newegg, and it would still only ship in 3 to 4 weeks. And basically, I was just refreshing Best Buy for the most part because Walmart had their times already preset the next day. So I was planning on doing that, but I didn't have to because the next morning when I was working, I just opened up Best Buy. I just figured like if I just have one page open, refresh it all day, see what happens. Refreshing it or end around 9:30. So this is starting at I started work early that day just for this. So this is like 7:30. I started doing that. So I kept refreshing, every so often. And
what time did it go on sale?
Around 9:30 ish. So
the morning.
So Best Buy, they did not have any scheduled time. They didn't have anything set, but I had the PS5 page open and I was refreshing it nonstop, basically.
You got lucky.
Yeah, and I got really lucky because it just went on sale and none of the bots were ready for it. So I just went in and I didn't have to rush or anything. I did rush, but
how long were you refreshing for? For 2 hours?
It wasn't like constant refreshing. It was like refresh it, go do some work on the side, refresh. It wasn't like every second, but
click for 2
because I wasn't sure when it would go on sale. Like it could have been like 8 o'clock at night, so who knows? But it was just very lucky.
Physically, what happened to me, but I got it the night it went live, which no one knew it was going live, and created a panic. Which is, I'm sure that's what they wanted. But I got it that night. I basically got it just because I couldn't sleep because I was trying to get it, and then I gave up because I was like, whatever. went to sleep. Couldn't sleep because people kept texting me, and I really didn't care. Like at that point, I was trying to go to sleep, but I couldn't sleep. And then boom, it was just. I forget exactly if it was in my cart already or if I had to put it in my cart. But whatever happened, I just went boom, boom, did it quick. I got it on the day it came out, and even when I pre-ordered it, I didn't think I was going to get it.
Currently, I'm 3 days out, so it's Sunday while we're recording, Tuesday when I would potentially get it. So by the time this podcast comes out, I should have it, but you never know, and that's the concern. However, Shamster does have it, so let's get into
I got
the PS5.
Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about. I didn't play it right away, which was busy, and I played it the next day. So I unboxed it, and it was cool. Like the box is like whatever. It's just you're not gonna. It's just a box. It's cool. Opened her up, or whoever it is, and grabbed the controller out first. It's not as bright white as you would think it would be based on all the ads. At least I thought it looked a lot brighter, which is better. Be get a little grungy after a short period of time.
Yeah, I've heard from some reviewers that it's got a slight tint of gray. Now, I haven't seen it myself.
It's got a slight tint of gray.
Could you tell me about actually experiencing and using the DualSense?
It's actually pretty cool. I like everything about it except one thing, and it's kind of the opposite way I felt about the Shock 4. I like everything about it, and I'll get into the vibrate or the haptic feedback in a bit. But the controller itself is good, except if I could change one thing, it would be the home button, because now it's just like letters. The last iteration of the controller, it was a bigger home button. You could feel it, just press it. It's a little bit harder to feel and find. Like it's there. It's just kind of annoying. You can miss the edge a little bit maybe. Maybe I'll get used to it. But I do like I think it's called the share, the create buttons, or create, and I forget what the other one is. Those are not recessed anymore. You can actually find them and use them. So
Shamster has a big problem with recessed buttons, apparently.
I hate recessed buttons. More on that to come, because I'm going to talk about that when we talk about the remote.
I have no hate with recessed buttons. If you know where it is, like the Pro controller, the recessed buttons there, I have no problem finding them personally.
I do. I don't know what it is, but I can't stand them. But anyway, it's a good controller. The light supposedly on where the touchpad is, that's supposedly more energy efficient, so I don't think it drains as much of the battery, if any, supposedly, but I'm sure it does still drain some.
Have you tested the battery life on that at all?
I didn't pre-charge it, which I should have, and since I had to wait to the next day because I couldn't do it, I couldn't unbox it and play it the day before. I ended up doing it the next day, but the controller, I didn't think about it to pre-charge it. I think it was actually already charged, so I did plug it in for a little bit while I was setting up, and then I played, and then I checked it, and it seems like it's pretty fully charged. I think it's fine, but I don't know. It's probably, I'm guessing, 6 to 8 hours. But I have no idea.
I just hope it's better than the DualShock 4.
Haptic feedback seems like it's going to take up a lot of the battery. What I do like about the controller a lot is the mute button. First of all, this is a pro tip. It defaults to on for the mic. If you don't want your business being broadcasted all over the place, you might want to just push the button so it's muted. I think you could set the default in the settings too, but I'm not 100% sure about that. What I do like, and this is a pro tip, if you just hold the mute button in for like 2 seconds, it's not even, but you don't just tap it. If you tap it, it turns on and off the mic. If you hold it in, not much longer, just kind of hold it in, it will mute all of the audio that's coming out of the PS4, so everything just mutes. Like if you get into a game and it's super loud all of a sudden, you don't have to like get up and like walk over and turn the TV down. If someone in the background yelling at you to turn it the hell down, all you got to do is just push that button for like a second. Boom.
That's really cool, actually. So,
yeah, I'm surprised. I didn't think about that.
That's awesome. I'm very excited to know that actually now. That's pretty good. So what about when you mute the microphone? Is when you actually mute it, do you have to do it every time, or is the one setting it's muted then for good?
I think it's muted for good, but when I put it in rest mode when I was done and turned it back on, I don't think anything changed. It's literally just a button: mute, unmute, mute, unmute, mute, unmute. That's and then it just turns the lights green. I think either on mute or when it's unmute or orange. So it's either mute on or mute off. That's for the mic. If you hold it in, I don't know if it's a different color. I didn't notice. I should have looked. But that would mute all the audio, which is cool. But
Nice.
yeah, it's a good controller. The haptic feedback's really cool. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
How is it in comparison to the HD Rumble for the Switch?
Better. Definitely better for sure.
Really?
I love the Switch HD Rumble, but I think they overhyped it because it didn't seem that drastically different. This seems drastically different. Sure. Like you'll notice it. And the Astro's Playroom, which we'll talk about, that is a full game. And it's actually the sequel to Astrobot, the first one, or Astro's Playroom, it's called on the PS5. But that whole game, the premise kind of focuses in on the haptic feedback.
Why don't you just get into it? Just talk about Astro's Playroom, because this is a game I'm actually very excited to try out.
Right, well, so let me start by saying this is the one system I didn't read up too much on before I got it because I wasn't too hyped about it, mainly because there's not a lot of games right now that really like you need the system to play it. There's a couple. I wasn't too hyped on it, so I didn't keep up with it entirely. So I didn't even know Astro's Astro's Playroom was a thing. And again, it's the sequel to Astrobot, one with the VR on the PS4. That's really really good. I didn't play it, but I heard it's really 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 good, and I have it. Just haven't had a chance to play it yet because my VR is not hooked up. That's a whole other story. But I didn't know it was built in. And I heard about it and stuff, but I never focused on it. I figured it was just a like like a sandbox, like a something to demo like the one on the PS4. And it's a full game. So do you have any specific questions about it? Because I can go off about how great it is, and how much it showcases the haptic feedback, like how well that works. But what do you want to know?
I don't really want to know too much because I want to experience it myself. But
I don't want to
yeah,
spoil anything, but it's good. I will say that it pays homage to the PlayStation heritage. That's like a main theme, like a very big part of it. So if you like the PlayStation lineage, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5, the great Donovan McNabb, then I think you'll love the game. Actually, it's really good. I'm gonna spoil it. Some people might have played the VR version. Some people might have played. I do you know if you could play the VR version non VR, like the Astrobot game?
I don't think so. I think it's built specifically only for VR. I could be wrong,
Right.
but I believe it's only VR.
I hope you're wrong because like I have it. I can just pop it in. Excuse me, and play it, and not have to worry about hooking up the VR and all that. Although I know the intention was for it to be focused on VR, so I kind of do want to play it in VR. But it's really good, awesome, love it. Complements the controller perfectly, not only in the style of the game and like just the look of the bots, but also just because of the haptic feedback. So that's what I'll leave you with. It's good. You will definitely enjoy it, and I don't think it's super long, but it is a full game. And I think, excuse me, you can try to platinum it. I think in like 8 hours. But I think it's like 2 to 3 or 4 to beat. It's fun. There's a lot of stuff to see and do in there.
Very cool. Very cool. So you got the PS5. What is like the UI like? What is just the PlayStation Store? Because I know that's kind of built in right now. How is the actual experience in the PS5?
Oh, with the store, I'll just start there, get it over with. Well, okay, so I was looking in the store for some reason to find all my past, all my. All right, here's what I did. I took my PS4. I just disconnected it because this thing is huge. I didn't even mention that. It's huge, and I think a lot of people already know that. I wasn't even going to try to fit it in uh, with all the stuff I already have hooked up. So I just literally just pulled out my PS4, put it somewhere nice and safe, and I plugged it into the same HDMI, and then I just plugged the power in. And then, the internet's Wi-Fi. The other one was connected to Ethernet. The reason I brought all that stuff up, I don't remember, but the UI itself is actually snappy. It's definitely snappy. The
Okay,
UI
get back into what you're talking about though. That's interesting. Can you tell me about the PS Store? Can we continue with that story, Shamster?
yeah, the PS Store is fine. Basically, what I was trying to do for some reason was trying to find my games in there. 'Cause I don't know if the UI is completely intuitive on the last one or not, but if you don't try to do that for a while, to download once you purchase it are no longer on your system, like you deleted them from the hard drive, whatever. Because when I set up the PS5, those games aren't in there, obviously. So I wanted to. I ended up looking. I was looking for them, and I thought they'd be in the store. So they weren't. So I was a little disappointed in the store at first, but there was no reason for me to be disappointed because the games are actually in another section. It was, what was it? It was where everyone probably already knows where they're supposed to be, and I just didn't for some reason. At least it was harder to find, but it was good. The store's fine. I did notice this
How
though. There's not a lot of stuff on sale at all right now, and that's probably because they just released a PS5. They're just milking it at this point. So there was some stuff on sale, but not a ton. There's only like 30 games for the PS5 if you filter it to PS5. Not 30, just less than that. But there might be around there maybe, but they're not like great games. Like one of them is like the roller coaster builder or something like that.
What's the store like though, as far as speed? Because the PS4 store was super slow.
Was it slow? I don't really notice it. I don't know. I used to just browse through there a lot, but I would just go through like the main list. It seems overall the whole thing seems snappy. It doesn't seem as snappy when you pull up like PS4 games and stuff like that. And I don't why that would be. Why won't the PS4 games load more quickly than the PS5 games? I'm sure it's the way they were developed, but do you have any insight on that?
Nope.
I was reading about that, and it seems to be a thing. I thought they would just be zippy too, but
Games are not optimized to use SSDs. They're still optimized to use. I mean, they should be at least a little bit faster, but you're not going to see a significant loading speed because it's not meant to run on an SSD
all right, that's right.
unless there's a patch that's added in.
Yeah, which I read that. Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So and I think if they tried to speed it up, it could crash or there could be issues.
Yep.
So it's fine. But I wanted my PS4 games to snap too, so they would see more next gen. But because I
Which
had to put
PS
a lot of them on there because there wasn't a lot of games.
which PS4 games did you load on there?
A lot of the ones I bought, just all kinds of like Strider, Dragon's Lair trilogy. I mean, there's a ton. Ollie Ollie, I love that game. That game is so good. I mean, I got not tons, but Mortal Kombat X edition or whatever it's called. The Uncharted collection. Which I actually I want to do that. Probably what I'm going to
What's
do next.
what's your storage situation looking like after downloading all those games?
That's good question because I was going to bring up the point that it's not looking good already. There's 850 gigs. I downloaded. I mean, I said I downloaded tons of stuff, but I don't mean like 30 or 40 games. Just like good stuff, like the best of the best that I had on my PlayStation 4 that I want to keep going with. Um, Axiom Verge, love that game. That's a really good game. Stuff like that. So, um,
So
Bastion.
you actually only get 600 and something gigs. It's not the 825 because the OS takes up over 100 gigs. So you're left with only roughly 670 or so gigs of memory. So that'll fill up really
Yeah,
quick. I have a 2
I have like
terabyte
250 gigs left.
I have a 2 terabyte hard drive on my PS4, and that's it's like 3/4 filled, but that's from my entire time having PS5, and basically all the games are on there. So having only 600 gigs, that's going to fill up very quickly. So
It's not enough. It's not. That's like the biggest drawback. I have the PS4 Pro, and that has like a terabyte. But I think at minimum terabyte. It's not even. It's just 685 to start, and then like you said, it drops down to like 600 ish because of all the stuff they use. I mean, the operating system. But I have like 250 left, and it's not enough. That's just because that's after downloading a whole bunch of indie games and smaller games. I don't know how much PS4 pre-installed, but I'm sure it was a good amount. And the apps and the updates and the patches, all that stuff, it's going to add up fast. So yeah, you're right. It's definitely not. It's not enough. We'll see what happens with that. They're working on. They're working on a some sort of update, but it might just do storage on a hard drive, which I don't really understand. Maybe you have some thoughts
so
on that.
yeah, so I mean that's there if you pop out faceplate of one of the PS5 on one of the sides, there's a little port where you can put a SSD drive in, so to add more storage. However, there is not any that are approved currently at the moment, and Sony has blocked everything to add expandable memory at the time. So you can't do anything with that yet. I did replace my hard drive in my PS4, and one thing I
Oh,
did
it's
want,
easy, right?
yeah, no, it's very very simple. So one quick thing I did want to get into though was you were talking about all the storage and adding PS4 games. I'm not gonna really add any PS4 games necessarily to my PS5. Maybe like one or two recent games that I'm playing. I'm actually gonna have my PS4. I'm moving it down to my game room, so I can actually set up the remote play for to stream the PS5 on the PS4. So I do want to try that out. I think that'd be pretty fun to test out. So I will get back to you on that when I test it.
Yeah, actually, I need to know more about that because I didn't look into that at all. I had a PlayStation TV and it was kind of annoying. It didn't work that great. It was a little laggy. It was
If
it
you're
was cool for sure.
If you're using the PS4 though, I feel like it'd be pretty good at streaming it, I would have to assume.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't look into it because I had a better experience, but much better. Uh, Definitely let us know, let everyone know. We all want to, all the boss listeners. We need to know. What
Well,
you
I mean, specifically for you, you have the PS4 Plus, which would be nice, and you can put that just in a different room upstairs or something like that and potentially stream.
I'm thinking about it. The problem is, it's like the PS4 Pro Spider-Man edition, and upstairs is a little bit more action. Let's just say, so there's a good chance.
All right, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So, but I think I'm going to, because why pack it away for whatever years? Because it has a nice Blu-ray player in it, and my Blu-ray player upstairs where it would go is dead. Not dead. I think it might be broken, but it's not good. Those are slow and old now at this point, especially that one. Um, it cost $250 when I got it. Yeah, so that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have to I'll put like a protective layer of sheath on it or something so that nobody can mess it up. Nothing can happen to it. But yeah,
What you should do is put a plexiglass cover on it and then a lock on it.
well, I might do that, but those crack. So I want to try to find some kind of material that won't crack. The way it's
You should also not use the Spider-Man DualShock 4 upstairs. Only use that purple one
oh,
that you got, or the other
that's
one.
not being used there. Yeah, that's not even a question. That's already packed away and nestling in its case. Uh, Although it's not the case it came in, I don't think, because it didn't come in a case. It came with the whole set. But yeah, that wouldn't go up there. That would be much more likely to get damaged. But the think about mounting it to the ceiling. That way, nothing can happen to it at all, ever.
Be perfect.
Yeah. So no, I don't know. It's probably going to go up there. I don't care that much about protecting like a PlayStation 4 Pro. But it
Speaking
is
of
cool.
Spider Speaking of Spider-Man, have you played Miles Morales at all? Because that's my most anticipated game. I actually have the game now, and I don't have the PS5 yet, just in anticipation of it. So, can you
It's
tell me
good.
that about that a little bit?
Oh, a couple of things stood out immediately. I like the soundtrack better. I don't know. I think it has more of like a hip hop feel, compared to the last one.
Nice.
So I definitely like that, especially in surround sound. It sounds really good. It's just good. The story kind of seems like it jumps right into it, and I'm not a huge comic guy. I'm not, I like the movies and stuff, but I'm not really. I don't follow the lore that much. But this looks. I mean, it is good. You can tell it's good. You'll know you're gonna love it when you play it. I mean, it's a really good game. What stood out the most also was besides the soundtrack, was the lighting effects, which sounds, cliche because they always talked about that. But like the fire in one scene, like a building was on fire, it looked like real fire. It looked really good. Um,
Did
it's
you know that Miles Morales has two modes, the performance mode
fidelity.
and the visual mode, fidelity mode, yeah. Have you tested
Yeah,
out the have you tested out both of those?
I just put it in fidelity because I figured that's what it's for, right?
The ray tracing and 4K. Well, I would also want to see how it runs at 60 frames per second. I would just want to see the difference in the if the frame rate actually does make a difference because I usually can't tell.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out, but I think it does make a difference. It's just real subtle. You don't really think about it. But
Yeah.
I also adjusted the HDR levels, which you can do. It looks good. It looks really good. The thing is, the other one looked great too. So it's
Yeah,
not like gonna blow you away just because the other one looks so good. If you look around what's happening and really think about it, like there's a lot of stuff going on the screen at the same time. Like tires on one side, like glass shattering on the other side. It's good. It looks great. It looks better than the
I'm
last
so
one. Yeah.
excited.
But and I also
I'm
like
so
that it's
excited.
snowing. Open world games in New York are kind of played out, and it's just I don't ever get into them because I'm not really a huge open world guy anyway. But this one, it's snowing, and I like the holidays, and it's around the holidays, and it just has a different feel, and it looks good. It looks really good. So it's snowing, you're swinging around, you kind of feel cold a little bit because you feel like you're like swinging around. Yeah. But you're not gonna have any problems with it at all. If anything, you're gonna probably think it's too short because isn't it 8 to 10 hours, something like that?
I think so, but I'll probably try to platinum it, so I'll get out as much as I can out of it, most likely.
You'll have no problems with it. It's awesome. I was going to send you some videos, but I didn't want to spoil it.
Yeah, no
Uh,
spoilers, please.
no, it's it's action. It's fun. It's nothing. It's not like
I'm not expecting anything different than the last Spider-Man, but I love that one so much, so I'm just excited to have another similar experience. And I love
quick
Miles the character.
quick side topic, and I have no idea if this relates at all to the game. I hope it does, but it probably won't. And I have no idea. Do you like Spider Verse? Did you saw that right?
I actually watched it today because I've seen it before, but I actually most recently watched it today. And
The movie isn't.
because I'm excited for Miles Morales.
It's not the same voice actor, is it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm not sure.
Exactly. He does a good job. He does a really good job in the game. And the new guy, the new face of the new guy, it doesn't bother me. I don't really care. Again, I'm not super into like I'm not like a big Comic Con guy. Like I don't. So maybe, and it doesn't really even relate to that. So I don't know. People just seem to care for some reason, or a lot of people do.
I don't
They,
care about that
yeah,
either.
I don't either at all. But it's good. Love it.
So you have one more thing to talk about the PS5, and it's a not great thing, but it's an accessory. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. And it is the remote. Well, you know what it is? It has recessed buttons, but you love recessed buttons. So you might like the remote.
I wouldn't like the remote because it's too small.
So that's one of the problems I have with it. It's also too slippery. So, like, hopefully, some third party makes a case for it. Like, I have a one Fire TV. The remote for it's slippery. You get a nice little case for it, a little grip. Cheap, but it also you can add color to it.
well,
They
like
don't have.
The Apple TV remote is really nice, but it's so small and you lose it just instantly.
Oh yeah, that's why. That's the worst one. That's why I bought a glow in the dark case for that one, but it doesn't help that much. It's so small. But yeah, it's small. It's light. It's slippery. The buttons are recessed. Other than that, it's fine. Like the only reason I got it was because it has the specific buttons for specific specific functions that I would definitely use. Like you could just hit Disney Channel, or you can hit Netflix, or you could just push a button for Amazon Prime Video, and it's Spotify. Other than that, I found that it was like more annoying to find the remote, push the button, like find the button because it's recessed. You can't tell what you're hitting. You're pushing the button. Then it was just to use the controller, just boom, boom. It's not like it's like 2 clicks. So,
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
it was $30. So I'm returning it. I don't need it for $30. And it's just another remote. And now that I have some LED lights set up, I have remotes for those. I have a neon light. I have a remote for that. I have Lego set with lights on it. I have a remote for that. It's just all these tiny remotes for a lot of LCD lights are all over. Plus my regular remotes. I don't need 25 remotes. So,
Nope.
and I actually like using the controller on the PS4 and the PS3 as a remote to control the media portion. The media aspect of the PS4 with the systems. So I think it'll be the same thing.
I am not planning on getting it. The only accessory I would get is the charging dock, but I'm not sure if I would because I'm not really sure where I put it because the current place I have the charging docks for my Switch and PS4, my daughter gets at, so I don't even really use those anymore. So we'll see about that.
As long as they last, if it only lasts for like 3 or 4 hours, you'll want one. But if it's like 12 hours or 8 to 12 hours, it's fine. It is nice, but I never know where to put those things either. And they take up a lot of space because it's for automatically, at least for two controllers. Some of them are for four. But
Yeah, I'll test it out and see what happens, and if maybe I'll get it,
I
maybe I
I
won't.
ordered a third party one, but it was supposed to ship like on release day, but still hasn't shipped yet. It just says we'll notify you when there's an expected ship date. I might just cancel it, but it wasn't expensive at all, and I figured why not. There's another cool thing about the PS5 that I liked. I didn't really mess with it too much, and it seems like it's half baked. Like they'll add more functionality to it later, or more options. It's essentially a customization option. So one of the main toolbars, I think if you hit the home button twice or hold it in, I think like the mute button I was talking about. There's different things you could do, and a lot of it revolves around hitting the button once or twice or holding it in. And the home button brings up a toolbar on one of them at the bottom, or maybe you have to toggle down once you pull up one of the menus. I forget, but there's a nice little toolbar there that has options for like I think for like recording, sharing, playing music, stuff like that. Powering off, which is nice. I didn't mention that earlier, but it's easy to power this off. It's just boom when you're done, like boom boom instead of boom wait scroll boom. Um, but yeah, you can customize that toolbar, and you could. But there's not a lot of options yet. There's like maybe 10 icons, maybe, but there should be like a few others that are on there that aren't on there, like bring you to the shop or bring you to the home screen or something like that. But I'm sure they'll add that later. But yeah, that's worth mentioning because it's a nice little touch.
Very
You know,
cool. I'm excited to try that out myself.
yeah, it's nothing about it stands out as not being good. I don't like the home button again. I mentioned that as much as the last one. I just don't like the way it is, and overall, the controller's good. Astrobot's good.
Final initial thoughts on the PS5.
I give it a great. I give it a really really good, and I play with it maybe 2 sessions, 2 full sessions. So I mean, the controller is great. The PS5 is really really good because dropping it from great because I personally don't think there's a ton of must have or games for it right now, exclusive games that you need because a lot of them are on the PS4. Like all the really good ones are on the PS4 too. So the actual system itself. Also, it's an awkward shape. Don't forget to put the stand on when you get it because
Yes, I actually had to tell Shamster about putting the stand on, which he didn't know you had needed it for horizontal.
yeah, I'm an idiot. Like I said, I didn't look too much into this one because I wasn't really too pumped about this one. Even though I do love PlayStation, obviously. But, even when I unboxed it and I sent pictures to people, it was upside down because it looks like it should go the other way. It's a very uniquely shaped system and console, and it's kind of ugly, but it's also kind of cool. Uh, yeah. And one other thing I didn't mention that I should definitely bring up is there was a lot of buzzing. No power supply issues or anything like that. I heard that was floating around. But what it was, I eventually isolated to the disk drive. I was like, that's not good. But number one, that was before I put the stand on. I don't know if that made a difference at all. I don't think it did because it's still laying horizontally anyway. So it didn't really change the position at all. And I looked it up. There was a lot of people experiencing it with that drive. They insulated the drive supposedly so it wouldn't make as much noise, but it still seems to do that. A lot of audio files out there were really like talking about how they were measuring the decibel levels and stuff like that. It's definitely loud, at least mine is, and a lot of other people's are too. But it's only when the game installs and when you're watching, I guess, movies. And movies are usually like, you have it turned up a little bit because it's immersive. You might not hear it then. So and it stopped. So like as soon as I put in Miles Morales, it was doing some stuff, and I think it does a lot of stuff in the background too, which I didn't realize. So I think that's why it started buzzing right away because it started installing the disc immediately because it plays it off the install. So that's what happened with that. So the buzzing, I thought it was going to be a big deal at first, and I was nervous, and then it turned out not really. It's not really. It's not a. It's just what it is, and won't be as bad as you think when you first hear it. That's it.
Very cool. And we will have my impressions, hopefully, of the PlayStation 5 next weekend. So Shamster and I will be able to go back and forth and talk about the PS5 in a much more conversational manner rather than just him talking about it because that's all he had. He's the
Yeah,
only one who
that
has
was
it
just
now.
info for the people because they need to know if they're going to, especially if they're going to spend that much money on it, or if they're driving themselves nuts trying to pre-order it, or not pre-order it anymore, but trying to even get a hold of the thing, just ordering it. Yeah, hopefully you can get it. I'm sure you'll get it because you ordered it from one of the best stores of all time. Shout out Best Buy.
Shout out. So one next gen console that I was able to obtain and have it in person. Check out the Boss Bite unboxing of the Game and Watch. But yeah, the Super Mario Brothers Game and Watch I have received. I also was up late the night it came out, same with Shamster, and we were both able to at least order it online. Shamster, tell me about your experience in getting the Game and Watch, or at least ordering it because you don't have it in hand yet.
Yeah, it was easier than I thought because I actually ended up ordering the British version on Amazon UK or whatever they call it. This is a backup. That's what I did with the NES Classic. That worked out well. This one would have worked out because there's no unique power supply differences because it's USB-C. So I ended up ordering that one, but the box is a little different. It doesn't really feel like a Freedom Game and Watch because it's not from America. So I wanted to get the Freedom version of the box, and
Agreed.
yeah, I mean, obviously. So I wanted to cancel that one, but I couldn't cancel it until I could get some ordered here, and I ended up ordering too many, and I'm trying to cancel some of them because I only really need one. Although I'll take two since it's such a collector's item, so that way I can mess around with one, maybe mod it. I'll keep the other one in box as a collector's item, and they're not expensive, so that's always a plus too. I ordered from Amazon. I ended up ordering from Amazon, Best Buy, and GameSpot or GameStop, not GameSpot, GameStop. And what
Amazon, I told Amazon. Well, I told you about both of those, but the Amazon I told you about later in the afternoon
you
on
did.
Friday when it came out. So
Shout out to Alex Kaz. He actually
Wario
did get.
60, Wario
Although I'm
64.
not going to give you full credit for the GameStop one because I was actually when you texted me, I was already on the site refreshing over and over and over again, a couple minutes just to see because it was midnight. I figured it would go on sale at midnight, and I was just refreshing. Why not? Because it's something fun to do. You just hit that refresh button, slam that refresh button. Um, but then you texted me and you said it was working, so I kept refreshing. It still didn't work. And then all of a sudden it did. It let me choose delivery. I did that. So I placed that order. And I placed one on Best Buy. I checked in the middle of the night because I had to let our new puppy out. And while I was up, I was like, let me just take a look see and see what happens here. And it was just there. So I was like, all right. But the annoying thing was, and this is actually this is actually smart at Best Buy. They should always do this because I was talking about this with a friend last week. What they end up doing is they don't prepare and the sites crash and it's ridiculous because it's 2 decades into the year 2000 and what they ended up doing was as soon as I hit buy or add the cart it said no problem, we're going to add it to your cart, but we're going to pause the screen for a few seconds and we'll turn it on or something like that if it's not sold out.
They did the same thing when I ordered the PS5. I hit add to cart, and then it said, "Please wait. The page will refresh and it will add to your cart." Then, so that same thing
Yeah,
happened with me.
they didn't do that. They didn't do that for when I pre-ordered the PS5. Um, they only did it because it was such a fiasco, and they changed it, which is good. I guess it's good, but it sucked at this point because I was up in the middle of the night and I was trying to buy it. I was like, "Well, it's right there. I'll just grab it real quick, cancel the UK one." And then I ended up pushing the button. It told me to wait. And I'm sitting there waiting, and it was like 3 minutes. I'm like, I'm not gonna. I gotta go back to sleep. I went back to sleep, and then at one point, I just checked it real quick right before I completely fell asleep, and boom, it was there, and I just bought it. And then I also got one on Amazon when he told me about that one as a backup because I was going to cancel one of the other ones because I trust Amazon the most. Shout out to Amazon. Um, but so I got three coming, and I don't need them, and I will
With,
figure something out.
with Amazon, you could also potentially get a Mario box, the Mario shipping box. They're sending items and potentially in Mario shipping boxes, so that would actually be pretty cool if you got that.
It has to be worth a lot of money. A lot.
So,
That
so I have a semi-similar. Well, I wouldn't say semi-similar because I actually have it in hand, the Game and Watch, and I've actually seen them in stores as recently as tonight. So I was up at midnight. This was the second night in a row I was up past midnight. I was super tired, but I was committed to getting the Game and Watch because
did it.
there was so
Boss
much
commitment. Like a
there,
boss.
there was so much hype around it that I just needed to get it. So I was on GameStop, I was on Best Buy, I was on Amazon. I had all the pages I was refreshing, and GameStop, I saw it was in stock, but it wouldn't, even when I was refreshing it, it wasn't working. So then I searched for the Game and Watch for sale in store on Google, and then there was a link to that to GameStop, and that one let me add it to the cart. So I got the order in midnight at GameStop. I sent Shamster over that link, but he got it anyway, so worked out for both of us. Next
By the
morning,
way, GameStop's the only one that hasn't sent mine out yet. So I'll let you know how that goes, but I'm sure it'll be fine. But I want to see how long it takes.
GameStop said they were prepping it for shipping for me, which it doesn't matter to me when I get it at this point because
You
that
have one. You already beat it.
for me, I just that's my sealed one, so I don't really care when that comes in.
Well,
But
see, one thing though, I was going to ask you about this. Were you concerned? Well, no, you picked one up in store, but that means you could see the box was in good shape. What if the one comes to you? Because this happens sometimes where the box is all like smashed into the corner or something.
I've had pretty good luck with GameStop. They actually seem to package their stuff really well, but if it comes in bad, I've seen them in stock locally, so I could just sell that or whatever and get a better one, or at that point I may not even care.
You might not care.
Yeah, I probably
You
won't
have that
care.
box. You could just switch it into that box. No, you can't because it's sealed. Yeah. Anyway, so what else? What else you got to say about it? How is it?
So the next morning, I went to Walmart first because I drop my daughter off usually around 7:30, and Walmart opens at 7. So I went there, asked the guy. They didn't have them in stock then, and they said they were getting them in later that day. That's where I saw them in stock tonight. They had about 5 or so left. So I don't think they're moving that crazy, at least in stores. People if the collectors want them, they would probably already get them by now. So I think those might sit for like another week or so. I'm not too concerned about that.
Yeah,
But
they're
then,
probably going to be here for a little. But once they're gone, they're probably going to be gone for
uh,
a while.
well, not necessarily. I think Nintendo will do a second shipment because they said they're going to continuously send them to retailers until March. But um, but anyway, after that, I went to Target, which that opened at 8 a.m. And so when I was waiting in the parking lot, there was this guy going around asking everyone if they had PS5 pre-orders because apparently. I thought all the PS5 orders were online only, but apparently some Target stores had them in that were overstock, or I don't know how there would be overstock when everything sold out anyway. I don't know how that worked, but they were apparent there was a line for the PS5s and they went into like the customer service desk area because I think that's where they were handing them out. So went right for the electronics section and they didn't even know about the Game and Watch, and there was one other person that was interested in it, and they had to go in the back, and it took about 45 minutes for them to actually get it out of the box. But
Wait. Let me stop you for a second. So the PS5 was a line for that even the day the Game & Watch came out?
I don't know the specifics of that, so I don't really want to get into it.
The
So
PS5 or Call of Duty?
no, it was PS5. It was like overstock PS5s. I don't really know too much about it,
Yeah,
so
yeah. No, go ahead.
I don't really want to get into that because I don't really
You
know
ran
about
to
it.
the back. You ran to the back and you demanded a Game & Watch. What happened next? What happens next?
So it took about 45 minutes for them to get the Game and Watch out, and I got it basically that day, and then filmed the unboxing of it. And I have another unboxing coming later this
Where can they
week.
find that? Where can the listeners find that?
They can find it on the Boss Room YouTube page. It's a
Oh,
boss bite. But anyway, I unboxed it and the box looks great. It's got this like plastic cover that has just, graphics on it. It's
it's
got
cool.
little, and then the actual box itself is just to mimic a old school Game and Watch box. So it looks super cool. Even the one that I have looks really nice, even though it's like not sealed. So I'm not too concerned about the other one coming in because it seems to be kind of durable, like with the outer layer. And the Game and Watch itself it's so much fun. I just keep it in my pocket all day, pop in,
All
play a
day.
little, play a little mark because it just fits.
Just
It
the
just
game.
it's so small, it just slides right in, so it's a definition of
Put it into
emergency.
the little change pocket in your jeans, or do you put it into the full size pocket underneath that?
It's the pandemic, I have not worn jeans in months, bro.
So windbreaker pants.
Yep, pretty much. workout pants, sweatpants, but it just fits in one side of the pocket, and then I got my phone in the other one, and we're good to go.
To go for emergency calls and emergency gaming all day after that.
All day. So yeah, it's a ton of fun. The screen looks really nice. There's settings for the volume for the screen, brightness for the
Is this
different.
your first Game and Watch?
Yeah, and I plan on getting a stand for it, and I'm gonna do a big order with all my Game and Watch or all my handheld stands. Maybe I'll do a video about that. Let me know if you guys want to see that. I'll probably do
Got a,
one.
got a boss for a prediction.
Boss Bite.
Yes, you're going to end up getting at least one original Game and Watch, the old school ones. At
I
least one.
may.
They're fun. They're cool.
I may indeed. I'm not against it either. If I get one
Cool.
for a good deal, why not?
Yeah, they're fun to find too because there's a lot. Like there's some cool ones that are harder to get or more expensive. Like Popeye, I think, is one. Donkey Kong one, maybe. I don't know, but yeah, they're fun to look at. They're cool. There's
But
old
yeah,
school kits.
this one's just got a modern screen. It works like just a modern handheld, and it's just very small. Fits in your hand great. And the buttons, the D-pad is perfect. It's just like an NES D-pad. The A and B buttons, I was worried that it was gonna be too rubbery, but it's kind of like a stiff rubber, so it feels good when you're playing it.
Vulcanized rubber.
What's that?
Vulcanized rubber. No, that'd be like a tire. It looked good. You mentioned that in the boss bite on the YouTube channel. It looked pretty cool. There's an alarm built in too, right? An alarm clock.
I haven't used it, but I think there might be. There's the time button, which has a lot of little nifty features. There's also, if you go into Mario 1 or Mario Lost Levels, if you hold down A, it'll give you an infinite lives, which is a
Ooh.
great way to play it
One of the
through.
secrets.
Yeah, there's a few secrets that Nintendo tweeted about, so I would go check that out on Nintendo Twitter's account. First of all, shout out to Nintendo for this nifty little handheld. It's super nice. It fits in your hand great, and
It's also the opposite of a PS5, which came out the day before, and it's still probably going to sell like almost just as many, if not more.
it's not going to sell as many as PS5s, but
At least in the
but
conversation, though.
well, one thing you did mention is the PS5 box is, that's just a little flimsy thing, but there's so many little Easter eggs in this, and it's so perfect to display. Nintendo really knows how to do it with the boxes that you actually want to keep them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and let me clarify too that I didn't mean the PS5 or the Game & Watch is going to sell at the PS5 lifetime. I'm just talking about like opening week. But yeah, when you showed that packaging on the Boss Room YouTube channel, I thought that the Mario artwork was like inked into the box, but it's actually a nice little sleeve, which is actually really cool. That was a surprise.
Yeah, when you get yours, I would recommend actually sort of cutting it as I did, so you can remove the sleeve and see the under one, which I wasn't gonna do initially, but when I saw what it looked like underneath, I did want to see that. So
I have like 3 of them coming, so I might as well.
yeah, exactly.
I can experiment with all of them. But yeah, I'm going to definitely open one.
Yeah, Game and
Uh,
Watch, ton of fun. I hope to
is it
add.
too small to play though? Can you actually get into it, or is it just like novelty? Do you think you'll keep playing it?
I might pop in here and there. I mean, I have so
I mean,
many
it is
other.
one of the best games ever made, and it's one of the games that just changed everything. So why not?
I already have so many ways to play Mario 1 that I don't know, but it's gonna look great displayed, and it's the
Yeah,
quickest way to play Mario 1. You just open it up and it's right there. And hopefully I can add a Mario 2 and 3 whenever there's a hack involved for that. So stay tuned for that in a future episode, hopefully.
interesting thing about the Game and Watch, by the way. I was going to ask you this, but then I realized it's an LCD screen. You could turn it off, right?
Yeah, there's a power button, so you can turn it
Yeah.
on and off.
I have a Game and Watch, and I was playing it, and I just got it, and I couldn't figure out. I was like done. I was like, how do I turn this thing off? I don't think I can turn it off. I don't think there's a power off button.
No, I think the batteries last for like 2 months or something like that.
Oh, well, for this, I think it might even be like 2 years. I think it might be a watch battery for the one I have. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I think they're mostly watch batteries, the old school ones, I believe.
Yeah, which is it's just interesting because it's such a different thing. Yeah, that's good. So you got it.
It's a super cool nod to the Game and Watch itself with a lot of modern touches. And honestly, Mario Brothers is super playable on it, so I could easily see myself playing Mario 2 and 3 on it. If
What about
now,
Lost Levels? Because that is hard.
I have not really played Lost Levels in there. I played it before and I beat it before, but I have not played on this yet. I will definitely do the Infinite Lives. I will definitely do the Infinite Lives for that one.
Yeah, it's not an easy game. All right. So what's next? What do we got?
On to the boss bits. So for me, I have just a couple quick things. The big thing for me was the Game and Watch, and obviously getting the PS5 order, despite not getting to play it. But I actually have two limited run games orders that I had purchased in April of last year, or April of this year, I'm sorry, that have just shipped out, and it's November. So the first game is the first game that shipped out was the game I ordered second out of that, which is Star Wars. It's a 2-pack for Switch. I also have an order of Panzer Dragoon, which that comes in, or that's just shipped today or yesterday. And one thing I will say is limited run games, I think is a really cool concept, but I do think they try to do too many things at once. What do you
Yeah, they
think of?
do. Definitely do. Well, so they're spreading themselves a little thin. They're good, and they're real gamers, which is cool. You could tell, like, just if you look at any of their tweets or anything, like they actually like what they do and care. But they're trying to just spread themselves around too much, so it just pushes everything back. Of course, they they'll mention the pandemic at this point,
Which
taking a lot of money for a lot of games, but a lot of them are coming for a long time. How long did you wait for those?
7 months?
That's at the absolute end of the threshold, I would say. Well, not really, because of
Well, last year I waited 10 months for Celeste. So I'm used to waiting for stuff from them. I mean, it sucks, but it is what it is. And now I'm
cool
not
thing
even
when it comes in.
at this point, I'm not even really excited to get those games in because I'm getting the PS5. So,
The last gen. Oh, technically the one's not because it's
well,
Nintendo.
no, they're current gen technically on
Which
Nintendo.
one are they? Which games is it? It's the Panzer Dragoon, and what was the other one?
There were two Star Wars games, the Jedi Knight and Jedi Outcast or something like that.
I almost ordered those, but whatever.
It
I don't
was
spend all my money on this stuff.
it looked like a cool little 2-pack and had a slip cover on it. I don't know. I got suckered into it.
It is cool. I mean, it's definitely cool. I'm waiting for Shantae, and it took them forever to get me the Tetris vinyl. Took a long time, but that's understandable. That was right when the pandemic kicked in, so whatever. I'm sure they had other things to deal with, just like everyone else. I like them. I remember. So I used to go to PAX. I go to PAX East a lot, but canceled. Well, last year I was there, but I think it's probably canceled this year. It hasn't been canceled officially yet.
Oh,
But
this year you were there, not last year.
yeah, actually, it was this year, but it was last year's. Yeah, but anyway, like, back in March, I think of 2019, 2020. Yeah,
Early COVID-19 pre-shutdowns.
but I've been there, going there for a few years, and when limited run games first came out, they were super indie, I guess you could say, and it was just a couple people at their little booth, and they were giving out, not giving out, but they were selling games, and it was usually indie games from the PS4 that weren't popular enough to get fully published by a bigger publisher and distributed all over the place. That's where I first came. But the last time I was there this year, it was like a huge, not just a booth. They had a whole section and like a light, not lights, but like cool concert lights. But they had like it was just they're like bigger now. Their prices went up. They're selling stuff at Best Buy now, but they're good. So you got those. What else are you waiting for?
Shantae as well, which at that I mean, I gotta get if there's a Shantae or if there's a brand new Game Boy Color game and it's iconic like that, I feel like I gotta get it
Yeah,
because
I got it.
we got the modded systems.
Yeah.
So
That
I got that, and then I got Pod Racer, I believe as well, and I think that's it. I might have one other on the way. I'm not sure, but I did want to quickly touch on limited run games as well. I actually started with them when I was collecting for the Vita. I then sold my Vita and started
they had
getting,
video games too. They still do, but yeah.
and then I sold my Vita, and then I was getting some Wii. I sold that for the Wii U basically, but I mean that's where I started with them, and then they started doing Switch games, and I basically just been buying Switch games only from them. I have a few of them. I have a collector's edition. Maybe I'll do an unboxing of that, even though it's already open. But it's a really cool edition, so I might do that anyway. But yeah, I think they're really cool. It just sucks the pandemic has cause these delays. So the only other game I've really been playing this week, other than Mario Galaxy and New Super Mario Brothers 2 and Mario Brothers now on the Game & Watch, is NES Remix, which, silly enough, I've been playing the Mario levels on that. I've been playing the Zelda levels on that. I've been playing Donkey Kong Jr., a little bit of Excite Bike. So yeah, it's
The
been
game has
fun.
so much charm. It has so much charm, doesn't it?
It's so fun. Yeah, I can't not get 3 stars though. If I finish the mission, I get like 2 stars. I'm like, oh, I can do that better. So it's a cool little challenge.
Do you have Remix 1 and 2?
So I actually have both because I have the pack, which is the physical version, and it contains version 1 and 2. And it also contains Super Luigi Brothers, which is just a mirrored version of Mario Brothers, and the Nintendo Championship, which you can play that and see what your high score is.
Yeah, it's great. Good game.
You only have the rental version though, which you're a big physical collector, and I'm surprised that you only have that one.
I forget which one I have. I might have I think I have Remix 1 physical. I think I have the rental of 2. I might get it.
Do you have it on 3DS, one of
Okay.
them?
Yeah, one of them was on 3DS. That's why
Okay, that makes sense then.
yeah. I forget if the Remix 1 I'll report back. Because I have the case packed away, and I'll report back. I'll let you know. Stay tuned.
So that's all I got for my boss bits. Shamster, what about you? What are your boss bits for the week?
The big one I mentioned this last weweek. I picked up WarioWare Inc. I played WarioWare for the WarioWare Gold, I think, for the 3DS. Good game, but this is one of the ones that started it all, I think, and it's really good. I was playing it, and the NES levels were a surprise.
Which game was that? Which Wario game was that?
WarioWare Inc. The GBA Game Boy Advance. I should have mentioned that. Maybe I did. I don't know, but it's a really good game. Again, it's got the charm. It's got the colorful graphics. The story makes zero sense, but it's kind of whimsical and just ridiculous. It's cool. I like the soundtrack. It's fun, and the game itself is just addicting. It's like you talk about if you get 2 stars, you got to get that 3rd star. This is like one of those. This is definitely one of those games where it's like just one more try, one more time. And the mini games are cool, but I like how they switch them up. Like they don't keep coming in the same order every time, and once in a while they'll throw a different one in. But the surprise is again is the NES levels, and they're modeled after old NES classics like Zelda and stuff like that. Really good. That was a surprise, and I like the jump rope competition. It's stupid, but there's a jump rope competition where you just try to jump rope as much as you can. It's kind of I think it's like the thing in Mario Odyssey where you keep jump roping and you try to get like as many jumps as you can. It gets
High
faster
score,
and faster every 10 or something like that. Yeah,
like a high score challenge.
yeah. Well, yeah, high jumping. How many times can you jump challenge? Whatever. But that's cool. It's got a lot of charm.
So I actually haven't played WarioWare Inc. I did get WarioWare Gold on the 3DS like you had. So it actually is cool to hear about the origins of the series.
Yeah, very very good game. And then a couple other things were mostly pickups this week, except I already talked about Astrobot and Miles Morales, but a couple pickups. Alex Kidd in Miracle World, very very retro Sega Master System game.
So Alex Kidd, I actually had that on the Genesis. It's a different game, but that's the one I had because I had the Genesis when I was growing up, and my name is Alex. So I got that. I think at like a Strawberries store, which if you're in the CT area, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, don't worry about it. Back to you, Shamster.
Never heard of that store, but Alex Kidd in Miracle World, the game, getting it complete, and the other pickup. And I typically don't buy Master System games, but I finally got. Mom sold one at one point that was in a box that she had that was mine. She wanted to get rid of it. She sold it. I wanted it back. It was gone. I never authorized that sale trade. That I never authorized that. But whatever, it's gone. So I finally got one back in really good condition, really good price. So I've been lately buying a lot of Master System games, and one of them was Alex Kidd in Miracle World recently. I mentioned some others prior, but also this week I picked up Rampage because that's another one that was sold illegally without my authorization, and that's a really good version of the game. So I got those two coming in, but that's about it. So I played a lot of WarioWare and then some PS5 games, but the pickups were Alex Kidd and Rampage, which are big. Actually, you know what? I forgot to mention Alleyway. I also ordered that based on our conversation last week. Remember, I said I was going to buy it, but I didn't because I don't remember why. But it's basically a super cheap game. Are you going to get that, right?
Yeah.
You said you were going to get that?
So I haven't looked into it yet. I'll probably just keep an eye out for it at the one next time I'm at a game store. I don't think it's something I'm going to necessarily seek on eBay. That's the kind of game I feel like I could just find at a store and just grab it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I also got the manual. That's how I just found the manual at the store and grabbed that. That's one of the reasons I got the game because I had the manual. Basically, got for free. So I had that. I looked at a case version or a box version with the complete with the manual and the game. It's like a lot of money. I'm not doing all that, but I got the manual and the game, and basically it didn't cost anything. It's a good game. But yeah, that's it.
Now on to the BFT, the boss featured topic.
EFT.
So, with the release of the PlayStation 5, we are going to consider this PlayStation month. I know it won't align as like an actual month, but basically for the next 4 weeks, we are going to be sharing some PlayStation memories. And today we'll be talking about the PS1. Now, for me, I had both the PS1 and the N64 when I was younger. I wasn't really too much into the PS1, although I did like a few games. So for me, my biggest memory for the PlayStation 1 is playing Tony Hawk 2 and Dave Mira specifically. So Dave Mira on the PlayStation 1 was probably the game that I played the most, and that was a lot of fun. Now, Shamster, what about you? What is a PlayStation 1 memory that you have?
There's so many, but one in particular was first thing that popped in my head when you mentioned that our topic of this week, PlayStation 1, was a friend of mine and me were sitting on a living room floor, cliche, that's why it's awesome, playing Einhinder. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. That game is good. And that's before it ended up being like some rare game that's like $150. But I remember
What
playing
type
that and loving that game, and we were like, "Wow, this game's awesome!" And it was one of the last times I played on a floor, so that's one of the reasons it's cool too.
what type of game is that? Can you go into more details?
Side scroller shooter, like R Type, just a shoot 'em up, space shooter. What
Cool.
do you call it? Shmup. Left to right.
Come up, yeah.
It's worth looking at. I think it's spelled like Heindr, maybe. I think it's a Konami game. It's very rare now and expensive. If you wanted to buy it, you could probably still play it somehow. But it's worth looking at if you've never heard of it. It's a famous game, but it's kind of more of like a underground, you know, cult following type game. I think I might be wrong. Great game. That's the big memory I have with the PlayStation One. But there's another one that's the exact same thing. It was the same dude we were hanging out, and the game called One. Another great action game, which was great. And I remember when we first played that, we were like, "Whoa!" And that's the same thing we did when we played Einhinder. And both times, I think we were on the floor because I think we were at the same house. I think it was like his grandparents' house or his dad's house. So I don't know. It's a friend of mine, and we ended up playing both those games in the same living room on the floor. One of the last times I played a video game console sitting on the floor. Um, yeah, so that's mine. I
Nice.
mean, there's a lot of other ones, but that's
For me, I just have one more quick memory is playing Resident Evil in the dark in the basement with my brothers and just being so scared. Looking back at the graphics of that now, it's not scary at all. It may have been Resident Evil 2. I can't remember which one, but it was freaky. I remember that was crazy.
it's funny because I was going to say that was my third one is the Resident Evil memory. We were all playing together. It was Resident Evil 1, but you know what's the scariest part is when the dogs bust out and they bust through the window.
Yep.
That gets
Yep.
everybody. That's
Yeah.
another
But
memory I have.
one other quick shout out I want to give to the PS1 is the PS1 Slim edition with the screen on it. Now, I've never had that, but
Yeah,
I've always found that is such a cool little like system. That is emergency gaming. That's a very good version of emergency
looking it
gaming
up right
back in
now.
back in the day.
PS1 Slim with screen.
What are we looking at price wise?
Look, is that what it is? PS. Oh, there it is. It's not that bad.
How
100
much?
bucks.
What'd you say?
$100. That's pretty old school. Actually, that's only one of them. Between 150 and 190 shipping. That's pretty.
That's
I never even knew about that. That's weird, but that's cool. I'd get that maybe. I mean, I won't, but I would.
I would get it for a good deal. I wouldn't get it for that price, but
I would get. I would get it for a good deal too.
it's so cool though. I think it's such a cool little like system.
It is. I'm gonna put it on my watch list. Destruction Derby is a game that stands out to me. It just the experience I had with that just stands out in my head because I think that's probably the first PlayStation game I played. Maybe I don't remember exactly, but that game was like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm not even a big car guy, but it was fun. It was cool. Do you know what that is? Destruction Derby?
No, but I was really into Twisted Metal back on the day on the
Twisted
PS1.
Metal was Twisted Metal Black. Oh, no, that was way after
That
PlayStation One. But Twisted Metal 2 on the PlayStation One was really good.
yeah.
PlayStation One. But anyway, yeah. So Destruction Derby, um, you a whole bunch of cars in an arena just trying to wreck each other, just drive around and wreck each other, like bumper cars, but with real cars in an arena, and it was nuts. So I remember that was a big one.
I'm familiar with the real life version of that. I mean, I've seen videos and stuff on it, but I haven't played that specific game. Sounds fun, but I'm not sure how it would hold up nowadays.
I wouldn't. It doesn't really hold up. The other memories I have are remember the initial boxes when it first came out, or I don't know if you remember that, but they were really long and tall.
No, I mean for me, my brother just got it. I was kind of young back in the day, so I wasn't working or we got the N64 as a family and then my brother bought a PS1. I think he bought two of them, one for my dad's house and one for my mom's house. And they just brought the memory cards back and forth. So I'll just play a few games here and there, but I was more about the N64 back in the day.
I always can't leave this topic without talking about Metal Gear Solid. This is one of the best games ever made. The original
Go
one.
in. Go in.
Metal Gear Solid was phenomenal. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but it was just phenomenal. Like the things they did. Do you remember that game? They made you look at the case.
I've
Like,
never played it.
oh my god, they did all kinds of. They mess with your head. They say like grab the case and find the secret password or something like that, and then it would like you would try to fight this boss. I think it was Psycho Mantis. I totally forget, but you couldn't do anything, and you would be like, "What is this? Doesn't make any sense." And I think this is very easy memory, but something where it's like you have to plug the controller one into controller port two. To be
Oh
able to get
yeah. Yeah, I've heard of that. And then there's like another one where you have to look at the manual for it.
yeah, it's really good. And then Silent Hill, that game is probably the scariest game I ever played. I can't really play it like not now. I mean, I don't even think I could finish it back then, but it was good. Do you remember that game? Did you ever play that game, Silent Hill?
I I haven't played those games either. I'm not really big into survival horror to be honest.
It's too scary for me, so I'm not really either. But the thing that was cool about that game was that you had like a walkie-talkie, and the town was scary and creepy and like foggy, and you'd walk around and you only had a flashlight, and the more static you would hear on your walkie-talkie, the closer you were to like the beings or whatever, the evil like the zombies or monsters or whatever they were. So it was so creepy because it would your radio would be silent. You'd keep walking around with your flashlight, and all of a sudden, like it would start getting real staticky, and you knew they were around. It was. I mean, it's a classic. So that was another one. But yeah, the PlayStation it didn't age that well, like you kind of inferred before when we were talking about one of the games. But that little one would be cool because you wouldn't really see the flaws as much because the screen's so small.
Thanks for listening to the Boss Room. My name is Alex Kaz.
I'm the Shamster, rhymes with Manster.
Have a great night.